All right, listeners, ready to dive deep again, because today we're tackling something, a request we got about a trope that's got people talking. It's the older bottom, younger top
It's
trope.
definitely going to be a fun one.
I know, right? For anyone new to BL, though, it's a genre focused on male-male relationships, usually the romantic kind. And just like with anything else, BL has its tropes, the themes and dynamics we just can't get enough of.
And those trips can really turn some expectations upside down.
For real. And that brings us to this deep dive. We're looking at a YouTube video essay called 18 BLs with older bottom and younger top trope. And right away, the video points out something super interesting.
That the trope doesn't really show up that much in BL series?
Yeah, it's more of a manga thing, which got me thinking, why is that?
Well, manga, especially with how episodic it can be, has a lot of freedom to play around. Plus, there's no casting real actors with a specific age dynamic to worry about.
True. That makes a lot of sense. But it does make you wonder, if it's so popular in manga, does that mean it's speaking to something audiences really love?
It's definitely saying something. And I don't think it's just about the novelty either.
Okay, now you've got me hooked. So let's break down why this trope is so great. Before we get to the examples, though, we should probably explain the whole top and bottom thing for anyone who's lost.
You're right. It's all about the relationship dynamics, especially when it comes to romance. In BL, seme and yuk come from Japanese, but basically, the seme is usually the one who's more assertive, the pursuer, and the yuk is often more receptive.
So older bottom, younger top means we're switching things up. The younger guy leads the relationship, and that can create some really interesting power dynamics.
100%. It makes us rethink those assumptions about age and maturity. And like we'll see in some of these examples, the younger guy might be the one who starts the relationship, but that doesn't mean they're not emotionally mature or aware of what their partner needs.
All right, hit me with your best example. What's the first BL story we're looking at?
Let's go with Tan and Fang's love story.
Okay, that already sounds juicy.
Oh.
Tell me more.
So it actually all starts with a fight. Fang, the older one, gets defended by Tan.
Oh, so it's a knight in shining armor situation.
Kinda. But here's the twist. Fang is the one who falls first. But instead of just saying something, he kind of subtly pushes Tan to confess his own feelings.
Whoa, that's pretty slick. Even if it's subtle, it's like he's pulling the strings from behind the scenes.
Exactly. And that quiet confidence, knowing how to read a situation and steer it the way he wants, is something you see a lot in this trope.
I'm already seeing why people love this.
Yeah.
It's all about those subverted expectations.
Yeah.
Okay, what other fun dynamics are we talking about?
How about Pai and San? This one's all about persistence. San's the younger one, and he is head over heels for Pai, who's older and way more reserved.
Ooh, good chase. Does Pi ever come around?
Oh, San is relentless, but in the best way possible. Pai's hesitation doesn't stop him at all. This one really shows how San doesn't see the age difference as a problem. If anything, it makes him admire Pai even more.
This is what I'm talking about. Age is just a number. San knows what he wants.
Okay.
Yeah, give me a story that's a little deeper, though.
In that case, we have to talk about Kojima and Kuma. This one's about healing from past pain.
Okay, now we're getting serious.
Yeah, Kojima's older in love, off the table. But then comes Kuma, this ball of energy who's totally devoted to Kojima, and it's that constant care and affection that slowly breaks down Kojima's walls.
This reminds me of those stories where someone helps another person believe in love again.
Yeah.
But here, it's the younger guy who's that source of healing.
And that really speaks to people. It's about having someone who sees the best in you even when you don't. And the fact that it's someone younger just adds another layer. It challenges this idea that older generations always have to be the teacher. Sometimes we're the students.
That's a good message. Now, not all relationships are perfect, though, right? Does the video have any examples where this trope isn't all sunshine and rainbows?
Yeah, there's Joe and Ming, which is labeled as potentially problematic and for good reason.
Ooh, what makes this one different?
Well, you've got Joe falling head over heels for Ming, but Ming's hung up on some older actor and kind of sees Joe as a stand-in.
Ouch. That's rough.
Right. It just goes to show that even when you flip the age thing, those messy feelings of unrequited love and heartbreak can still happen.
This is why you got to talk to each other in relationships. Okay, before we go any further, what do these stories tell us about why this trope works? We've got subtle influence of persistent guy's emotional healing. What ties it all together?
I think it's about challenging what we think we know. We usually think being young means being impulsive, maybe even a little shallow.
Right, the classic, they'll grow up eventually kind of
Thinking. Exactly. These stories flip that on its head. The younger partners know who they are, they get their emotions, and they're not afraid to go after what they want, even if it means breaking some rules.
It's like they're saying age in relationships, we make our own rules. And honestly, I am here for it.
It's that confidence that really gets you, isn't it? Makes you think twice about experience, always meaning you've got it all figured out. Sometimes a fresh perspective is what you need.
So true. And speaking of fresh perspectives,
Mm.
I need to hear more about these couples.
Mm.
What other BL stories are in this YouTube video?
Well, if we're talking about turning things upside down, there's Kong Pop and Erit. Remember when we did that deep dive on Thai BL and the whole SOTUS system?
How could I forget?
Yeah.
Hazing and hierarchies and all that good stuff.
Right. Now picture that whole dynamic, but with the younger guy shaking things up. Kong Pop is our younger lead, and he's got his eyes on Erit, an upperclassman who's all about tradition.
Okay, now that's a recipe for some serious sparks flying.
Hmm.
A battle of wills and a whole lot of unspoken attraction. Yeah.
Exactly. All that back and forth turns into this undeniable flirting, especially with Kong Pop always teasing Erit. It's a classic case of opposites attract, but with that added layer of challenging the way things are supposed to be.
See, this is what makes the older bottom, younger top trope so interesting. It's more than just flipping the age thing. It's about all the different ways power can play out in a relationship.
Absolutely. It lets us see stories where the younger partner isn't just tagging along. They're the ones shaping the relationship, making the older partner grow in ways they never expected.
Okay, so we've seen subtle influence, guys who don't give up emotional healing, messing with social norms. What can't this trope do?
Well, it's not like it's some magic answer to every relationship problem. Remember Joe and Ming. Even with the age roles reversed, things can still go wrong and people can get hurt.
True, no trope can escape those real feelings.
For sure. But that's what makes analyzing them so fun. These stories, even the ones that hit a few bumps, show us different ways people experience love and connection.
And they make us think about why these dynamics hit us so hard. Why do you think viewers love this older bottom, younger top thing so much?
I think it speaks to a few things. We talked about how it challenges all those ideas about age and relationships. Seeing those expectations flip just hits different.
It's like we're living through these characters who are making their own rules for romance.
Exactly. And it also shows this desire for different kinds of intimacy. It's
Right.
not always about who's older or who's been there, done that. It's about finding someone who gets you, understands you, and maybe helps you grow in ways you never thought you could.
And sometimes that person is the one who seems like they have less experience.
Yeah. It's about looking past the surface and seeing that everyone, no matter their age, brings something special to the table in a relationship.
You know, it's funny you should say unique perspectives. This trope pops up a lot in certain BL subgenres like office romances or historical dramas.
You're right. The setting can really make those power dynamics even stronger. Like in an office romance, you might have a younger guy who's ambitious and going after an older colleague who's been there forever. And in a historical drama, the age difference can reflect how society works, making it even more impactful when those expectations get flipped.
Like those stories where a young rebellious character steals the heart of an emperor or a wise old samurai.
Yeah, the possibilities are endless, and that's part of the fun. Each story puts a new spin on things, and through all those variations, we start to really get why these dynamics are so captivating.
I'm really glad we did this deep dive. It's one thing to love a trope, but it's another to really break down why it works. What about you? Anything surprise you about this whole older bottom, younger top thing?
You know what's really stuck with me is how this trope, even with how it plays with those age roles, really celebrates how complicated human connection is. It reminds us that love doesn't care about rules or timelines. It's messy, unpredictable, and sometimes it pops up in the most unexpected places.
You know, it really is amazing how we can find these heartwarming and complex stories in genres that people don't always take seriously.
I know, right? And for those of us who really love these stories, it's so cool to see how different creators make this trope their own.
Now you're speaking my language. Who are some of your favorite authors? Asking for our listeners who are ready to go beyond just this deep dive.
Okay, so there's this one author. Their stories always strike that perfect balance between sweet and spicy, plus they're younger characters. Always so assertive, but in a way that feels real, you know?
You can't just tease us like that. Give us a name. Our listeners need to add this to their list.
All right. Look out for anything by author's name. You won't regret it.
Okay, that's going straight on the list. Now, before we wrap things up, I want to go back to something you said earlier about how love doesn't play by the rules. You think this trope, with how it kind of flips those age roles around, can really challenge those societal norms? Or is it more about just escaping those expectations for a bit?
That's the big question, isn't it? I think it can be both. On the one hand, these stories give us a chance to think about things we might not have experienced ourselves. They let us imagine a world where age isn't such a big deal. It's more about the connection you feel with another person.
And sometimes all it takes is a little imagination to start a conversation or make us question what we think we know.
Right. Even if it's just on a deeper level, these stories can make us wonder why we see age and relationships the way we do. They can open us up to different perspectives.
This has been such an interesting conversation. We've gone from manga to talking about society all through this one trope.
And we've only just scratched the surface. There's a whole world of BL out there just waiting to be discovered.
To our amazing listener who requested this deep dive, we hope you loved exploring the older bottom, younger top trope as much as we did.
It just goes to show you how powerful storytelling can be. Even something as simple as changing up the ages in a story can create these amazing and complex narratives.
Absolutely. It reminds us that love in all its different forms is always worth exploring. And with that, we'll leave you with this. What other ideas about love and relationships are we missing out on, both in fiction and in real life?
Keep those questions coming and keep diving deep into those stories.
Until next time, happy watching.